Okay, a very good morning to all of you. Today class I am going to start the third unit. So that is the context-free grammars. So these are the topics I am going to explain you in this unit. So first one is what is meant by context-free grammar. Because in the previous unit we have learned already about the grammar. What is meant by grammar and the types of grammars. And so in that process we have already learned about the regular grammar. Now in this unit we have to learn one is context-free grammar and the next one is the derivation types. In a context-free grammar we have two types of derivations. One is LMD and second one is RMD. So LMD stands for leftmost derivation. RMD stands for rightmost derivations. And the next one is the parse trees. And then ambiguous grammar. And the next one is the simplification of context-free grammar. So in this process, in simplification of context-free grammar, we have to learn, one is we have to learn total three things. The one is, how to eliminate the epsilon productions and how to eliminate the useless symbols and then how to eliminate the unit productions. So total 3 points. One is elimination of epsilon production. The second one is useless symbols, elimination of useless symbols. And the third one is unit productions. So in the simplification of context-free grammar, we have to learn these 3 points. And the next one is the normal forms. So in the normal forms, we have to learn. So there are two types of normal forms. One is Chomsky normal form, that is CNF, Chomsky normal form. And the second one is GNF. So GNF stands for Grebenc normal form. And the next one is the pumping lemma, properties, and then the application of context-free grammars. So in the third unit, the third unit is related to the context-free grammar. Now in this class I am going to explain you what is a context-free grammar, the definition of the context-free grammar, and what are the notations we have to follow in a context-free grammar, and next one what is meant by context-free language, and then we have to see some of the examples how to construct a context-free grammar. So first starts with the definition of context-free grammar. So all of you know that the grammar tuples are 4. The grammar tuples are 4. So G equal to VT PS. If you take any grammar, the basic, in a grammar, the basic tuples are 4. One is G equal to VT PS. So the first one is V means it is a finite set of variables. V means variables are non-terminals. Variables are non-terminals. Next one, second one is the T. So T means it is a finite set of symbols. Generally we can call it as a terminals. So T means terminals, V means variable or non-terminal. And the third symbol is P. The third tuple is P. So P means it is a set of production rules. It is a set of production rules of the form A to alpha. Of the form A to alpha. And the last one is S. So S is starting symbol of the grammar. Starting symbol of the grammar. So if you take any grammar, the grammar tuples are same. Total 4 tuples, and the 4 tuples meaning is also same. So V means variables, T means terminal symbols, P means set of productions, S is starting symbol of the grammar. But only the difference is the production rules. Only the difference is production rules. So out of 4 tuples, the 3 tuples are same. That is variables, terminals, and starting symbol. Only the difference is P. So P means set of production rules. So in the previous unit, we have already learned about the regular grammar. So in a regular grammar, how to define the production? So all of you know that the regular grammar means it is a 2 types. One is right linear grammar and the second one is the left linear grammar. Suppose the production is of the form A to XB or X Otherwise, the production is of the form A to B X R. So either right linear grammar or left linear grammar. Whereas, so it is a regular grammar. So this is a regular grammar. So what is meant by variable? The capital letters we can call it as a variable. Suppose A, B, B, all are the variables. What is T? T means terminals. Simply, the lowercase letters we can call it as a terminal. Suppose here X is a terminal symbol. And next one, S is starting symbol of the grammar. So here A is starting symbol of the grammar. Almost out of these 4 tuples, the 3 tuples are same, only the difference is P. So in a regular grammar, how to define the productions are either right linear or left linear. That means in the production, left hand side is single non-terminal. A is a single non-terminal symbol. Whereas if you take this production that starts with X. So what is X? X is a string of terminals followed by single non-terminal symbol. Otherwise only string of terminals. Suppose if you take the left linear grammar, means the production rules is of the form A to B X or X. So here also the production left hand side is single non-terminal symbol. Right hand side starts with single non-terminal symbol followed by string of terminals. String of terminals. Whereas here starts with string of terminals, ends with single non-terminal symbol. So these are the rules in regular grammar. But this is a context-free grammar. In a context-free grammar also the tuples are same. G equal to VTPS. Only the difference is P. So this is the definition of P in regular grammar. Now the definition of P in context-free grammar is like this. It is of the form A to alpha. So here the meaning is the production left hand side is single non-terminal symbol A. So here A belongs to variable. A belongs to V. What is V? V means nothing but variable. All capital letters we can call it as a variable. So here the length of the variable is 1. So in this case the length of the variable is 1. So the production left hand side is, it should be a variable and the length is 1. Same as in regular grammar also. Now the difference is the right hand side of the productions. In a context-free grammar, the right hand side production is of the form alpha. So what is alpha? So alpha belongs to V union T star. What is meant by star? 0 or more. So here the combination is V union T star. That means V union T. V means variables, T means terminal symbols, star means any possible combinations. The length is starts with 0 to infinity. So here alpha means all possible combinations of variables and terminals. But whereas in this case we have followed some restrictions in regular grammar. The starts with string of terminals followed by only one non-terminal symbol. Otherwise starts with only single non-terminal symbol followed by string of terminals. This is a rule and it has some restrictions. Whereas in this case there is no restriction in the production right hand side. So alpha. So here the alpha means any possible combinations of variables and terminals and the length is 0 to infinity. For example, take A2. We can write like this. Same way B2, BP, A, like that. So here A is a terminal symbol, small letter, capital A is a non-terminal symbol. Again, small letters are terminals, capital letters are non-terminals or variables. So it is a combination of terminals and non-terminals, non-terminals and terminal symbols. It is a alpha. Whereas in this case we have some restriction. Starts with string of terminals followed by single non-terminal symbol. Here single non-terminal symbol followed by string of terminals. But here there is no restriction. Any number of terminals followed by any number of non-terminal symbols. Again, any number of non-terminal symbols followed by any number of terminal symbols. There is no restriction here. That's why alpha belongs to any possible combinations of variables and terminals. So this is the basic definition of the context-free grammar. In a regular grammar, whatever the grammar, whether it is a regular grammar, context-free grammar or context-sensitive grammar, the grammar tuples are same, that is G equal to VTPS. V means variables or non-terminals. Next one, T means terminals. And S is starting symbol. Almost these four tuples, out of these four, three tuples are same. Only the difference is P. So this is the rule for regular grammar. In a context-free grammar, the rule is this one. The production is of the form A2 alpha. That means the production left-hand side is single non-terminal symbol and the right-hand side is alpha. What is alpha? Alpha is a all possible combinations of variables and terminals. So this is in this way you can write any combination of terminals and non-terminals. So this is one of the example. So here the production E2, E plus E, next one E2, E star E, E2 open parenthesis E, E2 ID. Now write the grammar tuples. Write the context-free grammar tuples. Suppose the grammar tuples are G equal to, we have total 4 tuples. V, T, P, S. V, T, P, S. Total 4 tuples. Now we have to write what are the variables, what are the terminals, what are the productions, and what is the starting symbol of the grammar for this grammar. So write the tuples. So first one is V. I have already mentioned that all capital letters are variables. Suppose if you take, and one more thing is, each and every variable have a production. The terminal symbol there is no production, but if it is a variable means it should be some production. For example, here the capital letter is only E only. So variable means only one symbol, one letter, that is E. This is variable. Next one, T means terminal symbols or terminals. Generally terminal means all lowercase letters, digits, special symbols comes under terminals. So here, and one more thing is other than variables, remaining all are terminals only, because the grammar contains some set of productions. The production means it is a collection of variables and terminals. So production means nothing but some symbols. So symbol means we have only two types of symbols. One is a variable, second one is terminal symbols, non-terminal or terminal symbols. The first tuple is variable. We have already identified the tuples. So except E, the remaining symbols, whatever it is, remaining all are terminals only. For example, E is a non-terminal. Next one, plus, star, open parenthesis, closed parenthesis, and then ID. All are terminals only. So how to define a terminal means the lowercase letters, digits, special symbols are terminals. So here in this example, the terminals are plus, star, open parenthesis, closed parenthesis, and then ID. So these are the terminal symbols. And the third one is P. P means set of productions. What are the productions? So all these are the productions only. We have total 4 types of productions. Or we may simply, you can write E2, E plus E, or E star E, E, ID. This is a production. And then next one, the fourth one is S. What is S? S is a starting symbol of the grammar. So here in this grammar, the starting symbol of the production is this one, E2, E plus E. So the starting symbol is E only. E only. Sorry. E only. Okay, E only. So B means E. So T means terminal symbols. P means productions. So these are the productions. And next one S is starting symbol of the grammar. So E. E is the starting symbol of the grammar. So in this way, we define the tuples. G equal to PT, P, S. And the next one is, So here, these are the some notations, conventional notations. So in this unit or throughout the subject, we are using these notations. So here, we have to remember all these 5 points. Very, very important. So the first one is, just now I have mentioned that how to define a variable. All capital letters are, I can say that all capital letters are variables. So here, the capital letters A, B, C, D, E and S are denotes the variables. Simply, the capital letters are variables. Generally, we can represent S is starting symbol of the grammar. S is starting symbol of the grammar. And the second point is the lowercase letters like A, B, C, D, E, lowercase letters, digits. So digits means 0 to 9, 0, 1, 2, 3, like that up to 9. Special symbols. So all of you know that special symbol means nothing but plus star operators, plus, star, dollar, open parenthesis, closure parenthesis, braces. Everything comes under special symbols like plus, star, division, minus, open, closure. Everything comes under special symbols. And the last one is boldface strings. Boldface strings means nothing but, suppose if it is a normal text. Boldface means it is a somewhat thickness. So it is a boldface strings. It is a boldface string. So this type of boldface strings also we can call it as a terminals. So terminal means the first one is lowercase letters are terminals, digits are terminals, special symbols are terminals, and boldface strings are also a terminals. So this is the second point. The first point is related to the variable and the second point is related to the terminal symbols. And the third point is, so here in the first point I mentioned that capital letters are variables, but some of the capital letters, like if you take the capital letters X, Y and Z, these three letters meaning is somewhat different. Suppose in our grammar we have mentioned the capital letters X, Y and Z. The meaning is it may be either the terminal or non-terminal. Terminal or non-terminal. As per the first point, the capital letters are variables, but the capital letters X, Y, Z meaning is somewhat different. X, Y, Z that denotes either terminal or non-terminal, variable or non-terminal. So it depends upon the meaning of the grammar. Sometimes we may treat it as a terminals and sometimes we may treat it as a variable. So that is the third point. And the fourth point. Again, in rule 2, the lowercase letters are terminals. But, for example, take some of the lowercase letters. The meaning is different. For example, if you take the lowercase letters U, V, W, X, Y, Z. See here X, Y, Z is a lowercase letter, whereas this is a capital letters, non-terminals. So in this case, the lowercase letters U, V, W, X, Y and Z. So here, if we use these symbols, then the meaning is, it denotes the string of terminals. It denotes the string of terminals. For example, I am using the symbol is X. Suppose X equal to meaning is string of terminals. That means A is a terminal. A, B, C is a string of terminals. For example, if you take X equal to A, B, B. it is a string, but it is not a string of terminals because B is a non-terminal symbol. So it is a string, but it is not a string of terminals. So the string contains only the terminals. Okay. So if we use the lowercase letters U, V, W, X, Y and Z, that means the meaning is string of terminals like this. Like this. And the last point is, important point is, here in our grammar, in our definitions, we are using the Greek letters alpha, beta, gamma. Alpha, beta, gamma. Suppose if we are using the symbols alpha, beta, gamma means the meaning of alpha, beta, gamma is it's a string of variables and terminals. It's a string of variables and terminals. That means suppose if you take alpha means A, B, 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 A, like that. It is a string of both variables and terminal symbols. That is alpha, beta, gamma. String of terminals, that is U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Either string or, either terminal or variable. That is X, Y and Z. Okay. So these are the very, very important notations. So in this subject, you have to follow these notations, these rules. And the next point is, suppose if the production is like this, the first production is A to alpha 1. This is the first production. And like this. So A to alpha 1. This is the first production. And the second production is A to alpha 2. So A to alpha 2. Second production. And the third production is A to alpha 3. A to alpha 3. Like that, so many productions are there up to alpha k. So 1, 2, 3 up to k productions are there. So if you observe these productions, the arrow left hand side symbol is same. Left hand side symbol is same. That is A only. Only the difference is right side part. So A to alpha 1, A to alpha 2, A to alpha 3, like that A to alpha k. So all these k productions, the left hand side part is same. Suppose the productions are like this, then we can simplify this one to like this. A to, what is the first production? Alpha 1, R, alpha 2, R, alpha 3. Like that we can write alpha k. Because the right hand side part is same. Sorry, the left hand side part is same. That is A. Only the difference is right hand side. So A to alpha 1. This is one production. Alpha 2. Second production. So each production separated by slash R. Okay. So this is the one approach. And next one is the context-free language. Context-free language. So what is meant by context-free language means, suppose we have a grammar that is G, and we have some strings. W means nothing but string. So any derivation starts with starting symbol of the grammar. For example, take here S is starting symbol of the grammar. So double arrow. So this derivation, this arrow represents the derivation. Star indicates that 0 or more. So after 0 or more steps, finally we derive input string W. Now the language L equal to, suppose derived some string, suppose derived W1 string, second time derived W2 string, third time derived W3 string, like that we have derived some strings. So language means nothing but set of strings. So this language we can call it as a context-free language. Because the grammar is a context-free grammar. By using this context-free grammar, we derived some strings like W1, W2, W3. So this is a language, context-free language. Okay. So it is a CFL. The shortcut is CFL. Context-free language. Context-free grammar, CFG. Now we'll see one example how to construct a context-free grammar. So this is one example. So here the problem is construct a context-free grammar to generate set of palindromes over alphabet A comma B over A comma B. So first, before constructing a context-free grammar, so first of all, what is meant by context-free grammar? First, we have to define the tuples. Sorry, we have to define the tuples. G equal to VT PS. G equal to VT PS. V means variables, T means terminals, P means set of productions, S is starting symbol of the grammar. So in this case, construct a context-free grammar means we are mainly concentrating on the third tuple, that is P. P means set of productions. Once we derive the set of productions, based on that productions, we can easily write the what are the variables and what are the terminal symbols and what is the starting symbol of the grammar. Okay. So first, before writing the set of productions, first define what is meant by palindrome. First, what is meant by palindrome? First, write the language. So, write the language. So, language means nothing but set of strings, set of valid strings. So, here the strings means nothing but the strings should be a palindrome. What is meant by palindrome? Palindrome means the first letter and the last letter should be same. First letter and the last letter should be same. For example, here the minimum string is epsilon. Minimum string is epsilon. And we have two types of palindromes. One is even length palindrome, second one is odd length of palindrome. First, we will see the even length palindrome. First, we will see the even length of palindrome. Even length of palindrome. Even length means starts with 0, next to 2, 4, 6, 8, like that. So 0 means epsilon. Next, string length 2. String length is 2. So what is a valid string? So palindrome means starting symbol and the ending symbol should be same. So A. It is a palindrome. So here the alphabet is A comma B. So the string combination is A's and B's only. Same way, suppose the string starts with B, ends with B also. So this is string length 2. Next one, string length 4. Suppose the string starts with A, ends with A. Second symbol B, ends with B. Otherwise, B, A. Okay. So these are some of the valid strings. Now, by using these strings, now we have to define the context-free grammar. So context-free grammar means we are mainly focusing on the P. P means set of productions. Now starts with, for example, take S is starting symbol of the grammar. So S derives. Now write the right hand side of the productions. So it is a context-free grammar and the right side is there is no restrictions. So in a context-free grammar, how to define the production rules? It is of the form A to alpha. It is of the form A to alpha. That means the production left hand side is single non-terminal symbol, right hand side is alpha. Alpha means any possible combinations of variables and terminals and there is no restriction here. So the production right hand side, what we have to write the right hand side? So here if you observe the any production, so here the question is palindrome. Now I want to write the context-free grammar for even length of palindrome. So there are two types, two possibilities. One is the string starts with A and the second possibility is the string starts with B. For example, the string starts with A. it should be compulsory the string ends with A only. This is one possibility. And the second possibility is suppose the string starts with B. Compulsory ends with B only. Okay. And here one more possibility is there, that is epsilon. So we have total three possibilities. One is the string starts with either A or B. Suppose the string starts with A, automatically ends with A only. The string starts with B, automatically ends with B. And the third possibility is null string, that is epsilon. For example, here the string starts with A. I want to derive the input string is A, B, B, A. So starts with A. Now, A followed by, what is the second input symbol? What are the possibilities? Again, we have three possibilities. One is here, second symbol, it should be either A or B. And one more possibility is epsilon. Again, we have these three possibilities. That's why here you can put the symbol yes. So yes. Now I want to derive the string is double A. That means this S is epsilon. Suppose I want to derive A. Now S is replaced with B, S, B, A. Now S is replaced with epsilon. Then the string is A, B, B, A. So A, B, B, A. So it is a even length of palindrome. Same way, write the odd length of palindrome. Odd length of palindrome. So odd length means starts with, the string length starts with 1. Suppose if it is odd length means 1, 3, 5 like that. So first write the language. So L equal to, so 1 means the string length is 1. So what are the possible strings? 1 means either A or B. Next one, the string length is 3. Suppose starts with A, ends with A. In between, either A or B. Either A or B. Suppose starts with B, ends with B. In between, either A or B. Okay. So these are the some of the strings related to the odd length of palindrome. Now write the grammar. So S2 again starts with A, ends with A. Starts with B, ends with B. Only A and only B. Because in a even length of palindrome we have total three possibilities. Starts with A, starts with B or epsilon. But whereas in this case we have total 4 possibilities. The string only A, the string only B. Or starts with A, ends with B. Starts with B, ends with, starts with B, ends with B. So in between A, what happens? Either A, B, B, only A, only B. That means S is repeating. S is repeating. So this is odd length of palindrome. This is odd length of palindrome. Now palindrome means now you have to match both even length and odd length. So here the language is epsilon A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, B, A, A, B, 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 A, like that. It is a combination of both even length and odd length. Now the grammar is S2, A, S, A, B, S, B, A, B, or epsilon. A, B, or epsilon. Now write the grammar tuples. Now write the grammar tuples. So what are the grammar tuples? So grammar tuples are total 4. G equal to VT PS. G equal to VT PS. So write the grammar tuples. So G equal to VT P, yes. So first one V means variables. So total how many variables are there? Are here we have only one variable, that is S. And T means terminal symbols. What are the terminal symbols? So here we are using A, B, epsilon. Total 3 terminal symbols. A, B, epsilon. Next one P means productions. So these are the productions. These are the productions. P. And next one is yes. Yes is starting symbol of the grammar. So here also the starting symbol of the grammar is yes only. So in this way we constructed the palindrome. So first we constructed even length palindrome, next odd length of palindrome, and then combination of both even length as well as odd length. And the next problem is, so again it is a design a context with grammar. So here the condition is, so in this case the given one is the language. So L of G equal to A power I, B power I, where I starts with I greater than or equal to 0. So first define the language. So L equal to, so starts with 0. So A power 0 means epsilon, B power 0 means epsilon. So epsilon into epsilon is epsilon. Next one. Now take I equal to 1. So A power 1, B power 1. That means AB. Next one. I equal to 2. So A square, B square. A square, double A, B square. Same way, A cube, B cube, like that. So these are the language. Now, based on this language, write the context free grammar. So in a context free grammar, G equal to VTTS. So first we have defined the production rule. First we have to define the production rule. For example, take S is starting symbol of the grammar. S is starting symbol of the grammar. If you observe the string, language, first string is AB, second string is double A, double B, and the third string is triple A, triple B, 4A's, 4B's, like that. Now, we have to define the right hand side of the productions. So here, if you observe the language, if you take any string, starts with A, ends with B. So here also, starts with A, ends with B. Starts with A, ends with B. That means, starts with A, ends with B. In between A and B, what happens? So in this case, there is no symbol. Whereas in this case, again, A, B, repeating. Again, A, B. Again in between, A, B. That means, A, B, we have again two possibilities. One is nothing. There is no symbol. No symbol means we can put epsilon. Otherwise, same AB, AB, AB is repeating. What is AB? We have already defined. Yes. So S2 ASB slash epsilon. So this is a production for the context free grammar. So based on that, you have to define the tuples, variables. S, T, A, B, epsilon, P, S is starting symbol of the grammar. Okay. Suppose same problem. The difference is the previous one, this one difference is previous problem is starts with equal to 0. Now this is starts with 1. Suppose if it is starts with 1 means what is the minimum string? AB. Next one is A square, B square. Third one is triple A, triple B. Like that. Only the difference is 0. So here the grammar tuples are, first one, define the production, S2. Again here also starts with A, ends with B only. So in between, same AB, AB, AB is repeating. But in the previous problem, the minimum string is epsilon. Whereas in this case, the minimum string is AB. So that's why here you have to put AB, not for the epsilon. Okay, because in the previous problem, epsilon is in the language, but whereas in this case, epsilon, it is not in this language. That's why no need to, that's why it is not to write the epsilon symbol here. Okay, here the minimum string is AB. That's why put the AB separately. If it is repeating, then we can use this statement. Whereas in the previous example is, here the minimum string is epsilon. That's why here we put epsilon. But in this example, there is no epsilon in the language. That's why not to write the symbol epsilon. And the next example is W power R. And what is W? W is a binary number. Suppose almost it is related to the palindrome problem only. Now define the language. L equal to, what is W? W means binary number. Binary means zeros and ones. W power R means reverse of the string. W power R means reverse of the string. Okay. Suppose W equal to 0. Here the minimum string is epsilon only because it is a even length. It is a even length. So starts with epsilon. Starts with epsilon because W is epsilon, reverse also is also epsilon. So the result is epsilon. For example, take W is 0, W power R. So 0 reverse is 0 only. For example, take 1. 1 reverse is 1. Suppose W is 0, 1. W is 0, 1. W power R means reverse. So 0, 1. Now you can write 1, 0. 1, 0. Reverse. Suppose 1, 0, 0. It is a W. Now write the W power R. Reverse of W. So reverse of W means first 0, next 0 and then 1. In this way, define the language W power R. W means all possible combinations of zeros and ones. It's a string. W power R means it is simply reverse of the W. For example, here in this case, take W means 0, 1. W power R means like 1, 0, reverse. So in this case, 1, 0, 0 is a W. W power R 0, 0, 1. Now, if you observe this string, this language, minimum string is epsilon. So here 0, 0 starts with 0, ends with 0. Starts with 1, ends with 1. 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0. If you observe this language, it is nothing but a even length of palindrome. It is nothing but a even length of palindrome. So all of you know that how to write a production for the even length of palindrome. So S2 starts with 0, ends with 0. Starts with 1, ends with 1. R epsilon. Okay. So meanwhile, it is repeating. So 0S0, 1S1 slash epsilon. So W power R means it is a even length of palindrome. Same way, this is W hash W power R. This is nothing but it is a odd length of palindrome. For example, if you take W means minimum string is take epsilon. This is epsilon. Reverse is also a epsilon. So the string is hash. Next one, take W is 0 followed by hash. Hash is a symbol. There is no meaning for R. 0 hash W power R. W power R means again 0. 1. 1. Suppose 0, 1 is a W hash. W power R. You can write 1, 0. W 0, 1, 1 hash. W power R. You can write reverse of 0 like that. So here the hash means it is a separator before W and reverse of the W. So before hash, it is an input string combination of zeros and ones. After hash, it is a reverse of W. So previous problem is W power R. This is W hash W power R. Only the difference is hash. The meaning is same. So this is even length of palindrome. If you observe this one, it is a odd length of palindrome. So the production is starts with 0, ends with 0. Starts with 1, ends with 1. So here the minimum string is hash only. And we can repeat the process. So this is a production. Now define the grammar tuple. G equal to VT P yes. What is V? Yes. What is T? 0, 1 hash. So P yes is starting symbol of the grammar. Okay. So in this way we constructed a context-free grammar. Now the summary of this class is, so in this class I have discussed about what is meant by context-free grammar and the definition of the context-free grammar and also the conventional notations. The conventional notations. Whatever we see in the conventional notations that will be used throughout the subject. And the next one is the context-free language. What is meant by context-free language? And then we have solved some of the context-free grammar examples. Okay. The next class we will see the derivations of the context-free grammar. Okay. Thank you.